All right, so hello, welcome. This is a podcast interview with Astral Red, all the way from California, Northern California. I met her yesterday through a friend. She's passing through Copenhagen, and she's like, how to describe Astral Red? I'd say I get along with her perfectly because she's sort of like this hippie yoga chick, all right, who drinks a lot of water. And so you're passing through Copenhagen, and here I'm interviewing you on the Crooked Path podcast. And so thank you for participating.
Thank you.
And so just want to find out about you. I heard a few of your stories yesterday when we were having dinner, and just want to find out some more and the context and how you got the name Astral Red. You were not born with it, but...
No.
Right.
The birth name of pre-Astral Red was Susie Steinle.
Okay.
And so Susie's already a kind of name where you don't hear it too often anyhow. In my age group, being 30, it's usually for like women that are 140 years old.
Okay.
So it was interesting when just growing up with Susie is the name. And then...
Whoops. Yeah. And go on.
And now... having the name given to me, Astral Red, which as I travel Earth, I'm Red. Like I introduce myself like, hey, I'm Red. It's not Astral. It's like, hey, I'm Red. And the reason why I use the name Red is because if I use Astral, people, they ask me to repeat it twice and they look at me like I'm lying. But if I say Red, they shake my hand differently, they look in my eyes, and they don't speak for like maybe 30 seconds. And then they go, wow, nice to meet you, Red. So there's a way different approach with the names.
Oh.
And so I feel like I'm kind of, I don't want to say dependent, but humanity is kind of like my momentum on this whole Earth travel. I'm pretty much like, when I live with humans for 2 nights or 3 nights or maybe 6 weeks, I'm literally their muse, and I bring...
You said humans, like you come from another planet?
Yeah, I've always been that way.
You feel like that?
I've always been that way. Even when I was shallow. Pre-Eckhart Tolle.
Oh,
yeah. So
you were shallow. What happened? Tell me about that.
Well, growing up, it was always image. Growing up I grew up in the Eastern Bay Area, right? Like in a very yuppie California suburban town, and it was keeping up with the Joneses. And everyone had lots of money, and you wore nice clothes. And my parents got divorced when I was in 6th grade, so they gave to me with money instead of giving me the love.
Right.
Because they were both so hateful towards each other, they filled it up with spoiling me.
Spoil the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I was going to the tanning beds and demanding my plastic surgery and my fake boobs for graduation and my extensions and $250 every 2 weeks on hair, and just wasted money and time and energy.
So you said that you were like this material girl until...
From 8th grade, yeah, so like 14 till 23.
23?
Uh-huh.
And how did it change at 23? What was the catalyst?
I had a cocaine addiction.
Okay, great.
And yeah,
not great.
No, it's great. It's funny. It's great. The cocaine addiction, it was constantly trying to be skinny, because if you're skinny, the fashion fits you well if you're skinny.
Right.
So, I started doing Bikram yoga because I heard that it keeps, you burn calories and water. And so my first yoga class actually was a Bikram yoga class high on cocaine.
Wild.
Yeah. So, but then I remember calling my boyfriend at the time and telling him that I've never felt anything like this before.
When I did
that yoga class.
Okay.
There was an exhaustion and a surrendering that I felt in the Savasana, and it was kind of that yoga mush mind, yoga high that you get on the whole drive home. I just felt like I am on top of the world.
You felt totally alive.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was still kind of abusing the drug, not highly dependent. It was definitely a party scene for me and just made everything more fun. And yoga was not spiritual for me yet. It was still, but it was also a way to the deeper. I was still on the surface, but I could feel like, okay, I'm a centimeter in, I'm a millimeter in, I'm an inch in, you know. And by 3 months of yoga-ing, I was starting to kind of realize a little deeper thoughts. Like I wasn't so fearful of wearing certain name brands or looking perfect all the time. I mean, there's a point where I wouldn't go out of the house until my hair was done, my makeup was on, and all that.
Before.
Right.
Okay, so once you started doing the yoga,
yoga's
you
in
started
my life.
chilling out with that.
Right.
Like just being a bit more natural.
Right.
Okay.
And so then Eckhart Tolle, my mom, anytime she gifts me something, I come from a family where she did spoil me, right?
Okay.
But we weren't all about like, oh, Christmas time, let's just buy everyone hella presents. Even for our birthdays, it's not like, oh my God, you're going to get this for your birthday and this for your birthday. It was more like, Susie, I feel like I saw this and I just have to give it to you. And that was the Eckhart Tolle book, A New Earth.
Oh.
The little orange book.
Right.
And so she gave me that book, and I started reading it, and I was still shallow, going to the tanning beds every day, still a little cocoa
Every day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And just whatever I see on TV, I had to be that. And so I started reading this book, and it
Kaboom.
really put everything in perception. It put everything, I felt like, because I already kind of knew this idea. I was always kind of a tomboy as well.
Sure.
Down to earth. But what was around me was so many kind of just valley girl, shallowness, society's pressure to fulfill the image of what we see on TV and on the internet.
Sure, like mannequins. Mannequins. Correct. Yeah. Pretty mannequins.
So I was still sucked into that. And then once I started to build my courage, like, wait a minute, I just felt like that book was it was a validation. Like, it's okay to kind of not wear makeup today. So I stopped wearing makeup at work, and then I stopped wearing makeup in general. And then I was okay with having curly hair and not straightening it every day. And then the hardest one for me was stop going to the tanning beds. Because it was all about, it wasn't like orange and like super burned up and looked like from Florida or something. But still, it was, you look toner and you just look, I don't know, it's some girl thing.
Yeah.
So that was one that I had to kind of allow. And
let me ask you, when you were going through this shift, did you notice people treating you differently?
Oh, of course.
Like what? What did you see?
More like the guys who I were attracting were more down to earth and more kind of deeper thinkers.
Okay.
So it was this reflection was going on as well.
And before, the guys you were attracting before were what?
They wanted the typical like just the woman who wants the diamonds and the big boobs, and you gotta wear your nice bras, your nice underwears, and everything's matching, and
so like more like Ken,
nice
Barbie.
just trying to impress me with their cars, and here, honey, I'm gonna get you this purse for Christmas. And now it's like, you're not getting me anything for Christmas. Like, if I have a lover, it's where if there's anything, let's save and go travel. Like, it's always, or go to a really nice restaurant and eat really good food.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that Astral Red, she seems like she wants to break into some yoga poses right now.
I know.
She's sitting on the ground, on the floor. She's like, okay, is there a pose you want to do? Or
no, usually I sit like in a straddle, but sometimes that freaks people out. Usually it's like straddle legs and I fold over and I talk, but I feel like I'll get so close to the microphone. So.
You'll blow it up. Yeah. Okay, so you were, what else happened? You started going a bit more into yourself.
So I started going
feeling more comfortable in your own skin, I'd say.
Comfortable in my own skin, and then the mountains came into my life.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of once nature came into my life, it's always kind of been there. When I was a very young child, I would always make myself get lost down in the wilderness, in the creek. I used to want to like try to find Johnny Appleseed. I was always a tomboy. But when I got insecure in the teenage days, that's when the whole shallowness. Okay. Right, so now I'm returning back to like my childhood tomboy self.
Okay.
And I'm finding myself in the mountains, and next thing you know, it's like, wow, I'm passionate about mountaineering. I want to hike from Mexico to Canada, and I just felt like this warrior Pocahontas lady. And what comes with that, though, is a lot of male relationships. There's not too many women out there that are like really into mountain hiking, you know.
Yeah.
So I started to find myself kind of toughening up and hanging out with the boys and wanting to be a firefighter and go to school for that, and hanging out with the boys at my job at Trader Joe's, working night crew, and just all of a sudden I'm just like some rough and tough, just not like a bitch, but I was hardened. I was a bit hardened. Yeah.
So you became a bit more male-like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the male side of you came up more.
Right, and I had my head, I shaved my head, my body, I had very little fat on me. It was almost like I was protecting myself, like I didn't want to be liked by men.
Oh.
It was almost, I don't know if that sounds weird, but it was like I was getting to this point where just leave me alone, because there was a minute there where it was like I kept like finding the wrong lens.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. So and all this has to do with just me finding myself, just digging through
and feeling more comfortable with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember I met a woman and she shaved her head and she said it was like one of the best things she ever did.
Oh, and now when I find my hair,
she had spent so much time every day on her hair and like concerns about her hair and spending so much money on products. And when she just shaved it, she was freed of all that. And then also she she attracted different kind of guys who were less shallow, let's say.
I thought a lot of guys actually were even more turned on when I had a shaved head.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very.
So like
it was
a GI.
Just very. Yeah, it was
attraction.
very interesting, and
okay.
So, yeah. So now I'm a mountain lady, and I'm getting down to earth, and I start kind of doing some psychedelic stuff, and kind of tapping into that, and just really getting comfortable and curious and playful and childlike every corner of my life.
Okay.
And I'm teaching yoga full time. I mean, going from this one girl who just wanted to use it for fitness, and now it's like, oh my God, this saved my life.
Right.
And how I'm tapping into this whole power of breath.
Okay. Power of breath.
That I discovered when I was like 6 years old.
Okay.
And I just feel like all these things that happened to me when I was very young, being curious with what's after death, being curious with what's in the stars.
Right, you have this fascination with stars.
All this stuff is now coming up, and it's all full circle. It's like all these little open bracelets are now just connecting all over and forming this whole mala necklace connection.
And you're becoming like more of a whole person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're like liking yourself much more. And okay. So you. When were you Susie? When did that changeover happen?
Oh, to Astral Red?
To Astral Red.
Okay, so...
Or is there something you want to talk about before?
No, I mean, this is flowing very nice,
okay.
Yes. So, it was a year prior to, I got fired on July 11th. On my birthday, I got fired.
Okay.
From my job of 10 years.
Right.
And
on your birthday?
On my birthday.
You got fired on your birthday?
I got fired on my birthday.
So in retrospect, do you look at it as a gift in
Fuck
disguise?
yes. It's such, no, it was...
Not on that day, but...
It was a suffering of like 10 seconds, and then I looked up at the trees and the birds, and I tapped into the power of that design, and I was like, this is all part of it. This is no separate. This is all part of that design. And I mean, my boss that fired me, I go to hug him when I was signing my termination papers, and he was dumbfounded. He was like, why are you hugging me? I just terminated you. And he was so confused, and I'm like, maybe one day you'll get it. Love you, thank you, and this is it. And I stepped into that whole ocean of the unknown, By that time I was teaching yoga, I was working full time, I had my own house and my own huge kitchen, and finally I was like, wow, I can survive on my own. I don't need to date someone and share a house with someone to afford this. I can live by myself.
And you have lots of friends.
Yoga community.
Yeah.
And I was really just getting hyped up about teaching the yoga full time, and blessed enough to have this job on the side with medical benefits, and next thing you know, that's gone. And yoga doesn't really pay the bills much. I had to get rid of the house, and I had to go back into renting out a room, and not buying all my favorite foods, kind of humbling out, and
so there was like a simplification,
right?
But you were like okay with it.
I was. It helped me. It's because before I took this trip around the world, I sold all my. I don't have anything.
Right.
I have some food stuff, like some food machines for my raw food stuff.
Okay.
And then I have a few boxes of clothes for like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you were at the fitness place, and you were filling up with water, and you drink a lot of water,
yes.
And so you notice people usually are like impatient that it's taking you a long time to fill up your big bottle of water.
So what you're building up right now is the Astral Red story.
Right.
So
the emergence.
I get fired. Right. Well, I get fired July 2014. 1 year goes by where I'm fully just focused on my yoga and myself hard, because I have nothing else to do now. And it was a reality check for me, because there was a lot of, do I get a job and do the daily grind, or should I do my life's purpose? I feel like my life's purpose is building up. Like I feel, is it a real thing, or is it just something I read about and just hope that happens? Like, am I one to search for it, or do I just sit and be still and it comes to me?
Right.
And so I'm at the gym.
Wait,
and
one question. Was there any meditation in your life at that time?
I meditate all the time. I meditate through making food. Now I'm not one to sit there and, do my daily practice, but I am...
She's sitting in a perfect meditation pose, by the way. But,
I'm constantly in awareness, and I everywhere.
Okay, so you carry, you had a meditative awareness throughout your whole day.
And I think if there was any deep meditation slid in there, it was the amount of shrooms that I did one summer. Yeah, I did do a lot of shrooms.
And what did you see? What insights did you get from
the insights the shrooms gave me are stuff that I usually see every day, but it's almost as if I'm too patient to even see them clearly, so I just brush past them really quick. But when I'm on shrooms, I see them. I actually give them a chance to speak to me.
Oh.
So like the trees, you see trees, you see leaves, you see the sunlight through the trees all the time. But when I'm on shrooms, it's like, wow, that is just, and so then I remember that, and now I see it all the time, shrooms or not. Now I'm just, so I use it.
So there was a learning from that experience.
Yeah, it's like there's a training.
That you were able to bring it into your daily life without mushrooms.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, because I don't want to have to be dependent on it. I mean, the whole point is it's all within.
It's all within. Mm-hmm. It's all your natural capacity.
Right.
Okay.
So then, fast forward to July 2015, and July 1st, I get a text. I have to actually say this, it's July 1st, and it's
July 1st this year.
July 1st, 2015.
Wow.
So a year, recent. A year after, I'm getting fired about, and, it's this Wednesday night yoga class that I teach at 5 p.m. And it's always a very powerful class. It's in the middle of the week. It's one of my busier classes. And the energy in there, I also teach in the morning. The night, the PM shift energy is way different. They're going from the day. And so I tend to be kind of pumped. And I open up more than when I teach my classes in the morning. I'm a little more softer and more yin.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Okay.
So at the night, I mentioned at the very end of class, for some reason, I have no idea why I even brought it up now, but I shared with the fact that I've never experienced a close death before. I've only just had grandparents die.
So not the death of any person close to you?
I've not ever experienced to where the point where it makes you cry or it takes your breath away. It's always been, oh man, a friend of a friend. So as I'm saying this and walking on earth around these students in Savasana and just, a very meditative feeling in the class.
Shavasana is the corpse pose of final relaxation.
Yes, so you just lay and the people are just very sponge-like in a way. And I get very poetic in my class, and I'm opening up to them how I've never experienced this. One of the lessons I have yet to learn. As I'm sharing this at 6:25 at night, Kate Steinle is getting shot in the chest on Pier 14 in San Francisco at the same time, 6:25 at night.
And Kate Steinle is
my first friend on this earth. She was my first friend. My first friend. Like, who we would go build forts with, and we'd go to the mall together with, and she was 2 years older than me, so if she was with me, my mom was like, okay, you can go if Katie's there, you can go without an adult, and she was a world traveler, and her and I would Facebook message. We both read a lot of the same books. She was a big, huge fan of The Prophet, the book The Prophet.
By Khalil Gibran, yeah.
And it was actually this is a powerful story that you haven't heard yet. But when I knew that this whole trip and my life hasn't been the same ever since her death, was I went to the first funeral that I ever went to was her death. And it was one of the most beautiful celebrations I've ever went to. And lots of people, she was very well loved. Lots of people went there to Ruby Hills Winery in Pleasanton, California, and beautiful rolling hills in California. And I brought her last message to me on Facebook was, Susie, get the book The Prophet. Don't even have to worry about reading the book. Just read the pages on love. And so right when she died, I went and bought the book The Prophet. And
not knowing she had died.
No, knowing she died. One of the things that I did after I heard she died from my first love, Steve told me that she'd passed. I went to go get the book The Prophet to me that's like, okay, what would her words, just to connect me to her a little bit. And so the first thing I do was I open the pages on love and I read them, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring this to her father. So I go to her memorial and I'm trying to just think, like, how am I going to get this to her father, Jim, who's like my second dad? How am I going to get this to Jim? There's so many fucking people here that are like just swarming the family with I'm sorry's and sincerity and stuff. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not going to get this to him. Well, so her brother's doing his speech and the mom's doing her prayers, and Jim gets up, the dad, and he goes, I'm going to share something from her favorite book, The Prophet. And he reads the chapters on love, the pages that I tore out to give to him. So I'm like, okay, these pages are not meant but for me, that is just so interesting that happened. I mean, the instant effect of just like, what is this about? Like, yeah, the magic. So, and it was magic everywhere. And thank you for saying that word, because I'm starting to tap into that it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's little kids believe in it. And then somehow, along the way of turning in from little kid to teenager to adult, it's like, no, there's no such thing as magic. And it's like, what the hell? What are all the Disney movies about then? Like, no, we're kind of, it's so much more fun. I don't even care if magic is real or not. It's so much more fun to just say that it is.
Well, it's just a spirit of open-mindedness and having one's eyes open and seeing like the incredibleness of life around us.
Right.
Yeah. So it's everywhere. There's magic.
So what has unfolded with the Astral Red then is this whole experience has been nothing but magic.
And this is so recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in the gym.
Here we go.
And you're filling up with water.
There's 2 days after
Kate's death. Okay.
Okay, so this is July 4th.
Oh, and July 4th, huge holiday in the U.S.
Right, so I'm kind of in a rush. I have a party to throw in a couple hours, and this human being's behind me, and I turn around after I fill up my water, and I see some alien-looking shoes, and I'm like, okay. And I look up, and this guy goes, how do you feel First of all, no one talks to me at the gym because everyone thinks I'm weird. Second of all, no one ever waits for me to fill up this freaking water. So I'm like, who is this guy? And I go, I feel how, like...
And this is the very first time you've seen him?
Oh, I've never seen him before. This is the first time.
Okay, first time he's ever...
So I turn around and I go, how do you know? Like, that's what I ask humans is, how do you feel? And he goes, what's your name? And I go, Susie. And he's just real easygoing. Like, we were exchanging vibes. Like, we've known each other for years, and we're finally picking up where we left off. And I go, Susie, and he goes, that name's not going to work. I had a really bad lover named Susie, and I'm going to have to change your name. Can you hang out while I think of a new name for you? I go, sure, and I look at the clock, and I can't tell time.
Suddenly
Can't tell time. And for me, this is when all the shit begins. This is when the magic starts happening.
Okay.
And I didn't think anything of it with the clock yet. I was just like, okay, low blood sugar or something. So he takes me to this special room that's very dark and kind of yin, just female calming, very quiet, nothing to grab my attention away, his attention full on each other. And he was like, I have something important to show you that I think you're going to love. I think, okay. So I'm like, okay, do. And we go over to this room, and he starts showing me yoga. And he has no idea, like, yoga has saved my life. This is what my big evolution has been, and change is from this. And I wanted to tell him, but here I am. I'm just giggling. Like I said earlier, just giggling in my blood. Like, my everything's tingling. I'm just like, this is hilarious, you know? Like. And
was he doing the poses well, or were they goofy?
Oh, he was just an old fat man doing yoga. It was great. It's like what I see in my classes. And it's just, you know, he's just, okay, now you just, maybe you reach for your toe and, yeah, just, get this right side of the body real long. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, you need to flex your foot or something so you feel more. But, yeah, so... I still never told him that I did yoga. Never told him.
Oh.
I was now, by that time, we were starting to talk philosophy. He was starting to tell me where I'm going to travel to on the earth. I had never told him that I was about to take on this travel. I already had this travel planned out, this world travel.
Okay.
So
he's just almost like clairvoyant.
Right. Guy. That's why I called him like...
telepathic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I was kind of like, you know,
That's why you thought he was like a space alien.
Yeah, that's why I just called him Mark Angel. Like, Mark Angel came about, his name's Mark. But I threw in the word angel because I didn't have nothing else. And I had a party. I was throwing a party right after that. So I was like, okay, I have to go. You know, I have an hour to get to throw this party. And he was like, wait, can I walk you to this car? Because I have your name to give you. I was like, sure. So we're standing by my car, and he looks up, and his palms are up and open to sky, and he's wearing this cool little hippie bandana. He looks up, and he goes, yeah, Astral Red. And I go, huh? And he goes, Astral Red. And I'm like, Astral like the stars? He's like, yeah. And I was like, and red like my favorite color? And he's like, sure. And he has no idea. One of my first tattoos is red stars on my foot. And to some people that's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And it's like, no, this is that magic. I mean, there's fucking connectors all over the place. All these open hoops started to seal themselves into like just these rings of gold magic, and it is always occurring. All my yoga students know about him. My very best friend Scott Emmerich knows about him. My roommate Cece knows about all these magic things that were happening ever since Kate's death, and then strongly from July 4th. I thought I was going insane there for a minute. I wouldn't go outside because I was scared what was going to happen. All the music, there's this one CD that was in my car for like 6 months straight, and all of a sudden all the songs and the lyrics just made sense. Like they were literally like, it was like
Which album was it?
No, it's not an album, it's all these songs. It's a playlist. It's my first yoga playlist I ever made.
Oh, okay.
And I'm one to never listen to lyrics, and all of a sudden I've been listening to lyrics. Now that I teach yoga, I have to make sure that they're not talking about like butthole or something. So, sorry I said it.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I mean, this whole Astral Red thing, I'm just like dumbfounded. I go to my party and I'm like, you guys, I met an angel or something. I don't know how to explain it, but this guy knew stuff about me that he shouldn't know. He gave me this name, Astral Red, and at first, Astral Red, I was like, man, what's it going to be like? Do I call myself Ass or something? I was just kind of skimming through the idea of when I travel, maybe I'll introduce myself as Astral Red. And then I went to Harbin Hot Springs, which RIP Harbin Hot Springs. It's a place in Northern California where it's hot springs and super cold pools, highly therapeutic retreat center. And it actually burned down in this year's summer drought.
Oh.
So it's kind of like it burnt down right after I left. So It's kind of like, okay, there's another death for me. And when I was there, that's where I go and get naked. And me getting naked has been a major part of healing image disorder stuff. I was always very hard on my body as far as having the perfect body and present, explain
right,
that.
Right.
And so I would go to Harbin Hot Springs to heal eating disorder stuff and body image disorder stuff. And
self-heal.
Right.
Okay.
Because what you see is human beings naked, and you pretty much realize, wow, no one can avoid gravity.
Right.
So you either enjoy and embrace your beautiful body now, or you're never going to be enough. You know? So I started practicing on, I am enough. I'm beautiful. And
there's a lot of women who could go through that.
Oh my God, and there are so many, and I would share all my stories with my yoga students, and there were some women who I actually got to encourage them to go, and they did, and it's some of the most freeing therapeutic work they've ever done, just to be comfortable and get naked and be vulnerable. And that's a big part of me stepping into this whole earth travel as well. So Harbin Hot Springs, there's this guy that I introduced. I had him, he wanted some of my food. I was in the community kitchen making food, and he was like, I need to try some of your food. It just looks too good not to try. And I was like, oh yeah, man. It was just some beets with honey and coconut oil on it with my little salt and pepper or something like that. But I think it's the way I make it. And like, I always kind of hum and whistle when I'm making my food. And he just had to try it. And he goes, thanks, what's your name? I go, Astral Red. And he goes, nice to meet you, Red. And I'm like, fuck, Red. Fuck the ass. Fuck Astral. Red. This is what it is. So that whole weekend I played with introducing myself as Red, and how it hooked people's attention was very interesting to me. It was very interesting to me. But not only that, with Red, all these trippy things started happening as far as Red is concerned. Like, okay, I'm standing outside of my yoga studio, and this lady comes up to me, and she's like, do you want this? And she has like this big square red kite thing in her hands. I didn't know it was a kite yet. It just looked like a big piece of paper that was red. And I was like, what is it? You know, I was curious though, because it was red. And she goes, well, it's this thing that I'm holding on to. I'm sick of carrying it, but some Asian guy gave it to me, and he said it's for wishes. And I was like, oh, sure, you know, like, I'm about to, bring it in. You know, so I flip it over, it's all in Asian, but one of my yoga students knew what it was, and it's like this Asian wish kite or something. You pull it apart, it looks like a little hot air balloon, like a mini version. Yeah. You light it on fire, it fills up, and it starts to float away, and you make a wish. So, and that was Red, and I mean, there's mass amounts of other things that have totally, I could go on. Yeah. I could go on, and I wore a red shirt today. That's why you said red. Have you? No, I know. Yeah, when you walked up today, it's like, oh, you're wearing a red shirt. Your shoes are red. Yeah. And that's why it's like little things like that, when I try to talk myself out of coming here, it's not convincing, but what kind of seals and validates, like, no, this is something to pay attention to, is red. The pillows were red, just all that. And I mean, now I'm used to it. Like, oh, no, it's red. The house that I lived in Sweden was red. My house just everything. The red beanie in Australia, this Australian guy came in when I was in Iceland, and he had a red beanie, and I just went up to him, and I go up to him, and I go, we need to have a talk. And he's like, okay. 5 minutes later, we already have our trip planned out for Iceland, and him and I rented a car. We got along great and toured all over Iceland. Wow. I went through my red phase when I was in India. I remember, like 2004, 2005, yeah. I don't know what is with that color, and it ended up being... It's a color of renunciation. It's a color of, like, strength and energy. Okay. It's a color saying no. I'm going to focus on myself now. Thank you for that. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I had no idea. It's like the color, like, no, fuck you with your trying to program me, society. Screw that. And that's I'm going to be my own self. This is that whole journey. And the fire. And not many people can go through the red thing. Right. Well, and for me, it's red, root chakra. You know, the one mala that I have is all lava stone. And then it has this little red thing. Once I looked at this, I was like, no fucking way. My birthstone is ruby. And it's just, there's all these little signals. And so, yeah. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start in Iceland. One of my favorite artists is Bjork. And I'm going to go to her emotional settings. And figure what that is. And... yeah, I was very fortunate, and I'm ending in another volcanic region, but for me, it's just all root, and it's walking on this earth, and grounded, and strength, and which is something that back in the shallow days, I was a major pushover. I'd say yes to anything, including drugs, or guys, or anything. Sure, yeah, do whatever you want, sure, and now I'm like, no. I don't even care if I hurt your feelings. That's your choice. I'm hurting your feelings. Like, once I stepped into not taking things personal, just all this growth transformation is part of Astral Red. This has been building up for 30 fucking years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my spirit guide, Mark, before I left, I go, what is
Mark
this?
Angel.
Mark Angel.
Okay.
I go, who are you? Like, are you an angel? What are you? And he goes, no, I'm a spirit guide. And eventually you're gonna need someone higher. You're evolving into your monk self. And then I'm kind of like, I was having second thoughts again. I was like, no, I don't know what this is. This is trippy shit. This is, I don't know, fucking monk self, what? And, and what sealed the deal with that, though, when I doubted that, and I was like, okay, I'm going nuts, or this guy's nuts, and then I'm starting to believe it, so I'm going insane, is I go into the gym, and where I met Mark Angel, same gym, and I'm walking by this female who is on a bike, and she's like my doppelganger. She's like my twin. Do you know what a doppelganger is? A doppelganger is someone who looks like you, but they're not your blood twin or anything, but they just look like you. And apparently for every human, there's 5 doppelgangers out there for each human. Okay. So there's 4 other people that look like me out there. Okay. All right, so I met her at the gym. And she goes, finally, and I go, finally what? Like, again, this is, I'm just walking by her, and she speaks up to me and goes, finally, and she smiles at me. And I'm like, do I know you? I've never seen her before. And she goes, yeah, I took one of your yoga classes, but it was a pretty full yoga class, and I only took one, so you might, I totally get if you don't remember me. You see a lot of humans throughout the week. And I was like, okay, so finally what? And she's like, you're getting it. She goes, you're opening, you're allowing it now. She's like, I'm so excited. And I go, excited for what? She goes, your spirit, you're coming into what we've all been waiting for. And here I'm like, what are you talking about? I honestly, for a minute there, and when I was telling my mom this, and my sister Tessa this, they're like, Susie, what shrooms are you gone forever now?
Are you eating shrooms? Are you all high on shrooms right now?
No, they thought I ate a bad batch where I'm never going to return again. Like, it triggered something in my brain to where I'm permanently, and for me, shrooms aren't like that.
And did you ever see that woman again, the doppelganger?
I ended up getting her, when I left teaching yoga at that yoga studio, I taught so many classes that my yoga boss / best friend, Scott Emmerich, he was like, fuck, Suze, what am I going to do when you leave? Like, I don't know what teacher to fill your shoes up with, because I'm very real. I'll say asshole in class, I say bitch in class, I talk about death, I talk about cancer, I talk about my drug use. But it gets people to open up. It gets people to come in. It gets people to be okay with themselves. Mm-hmm. So I go there. Okay. And if they don't like my class, then I never see them again, which is fine. But so it wasn't like he had to get someone in there that was also very real and authentic. And so she was my doppelganger, and she's very real. And so I tried to kind of get her in there. I don't know if it worked out because she has a child, but I did see her again. I kept seeing her at the gym after that, and I never saw her before that. So she was reassured. She's a clairvoyant. So that's why she was like, I knew this. She was like, I just want to let you know that the guy Mark, whoever you're telling me about, she's never met him either. We all go to the same gym. She's like, he's your spirit guide. And she said just what he said too. You're going to evolve out of him where you need someone greater. She was like, you're going to meet your angels farther and you're getting very close, but you're coming into your monk self. She said the same fucking thing that Mark said.
The same thing Mark said.
So here I am,
you're like, come into your monk self.
Yeah.
Which means?
I don't know. know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, for a minute, I'm like, I
so
can't
that's
carry
coming up
on.
around the corner.
I can't carry up on. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's kind of like, what am I tapping into? And then I have this lover at home, Shane, and him and I mean, I felt like he almost came on with me on this trip, but at the last minute I was like, I need to do this alone as much as I want like this bodyguard to protect me, because I get a lot of men that throw themselves at me.
Right. And so the hero's journey. Hero's journey, you have to go alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and he wants to do more of the shamanic thing down in South America, and
that's him.
Right, so it would have been like, I can't, if it would have pulled me different directions. Right.
Okay, let me get back to something I've noticed, a little pattern with you. You keep using the word humans instead of people. The humans, when you're teaching humans yoga, you said some stuff like that. What is going on with that?
So human, humus, earth, humor, earth, human, earth, humus.
Okay.
Humble.
So nothing to do with hummus.
No, just not. You make hummus to eat because I make amazing hummus.
All right. So humus.
Humus, like soil.
Okay.
Where we grow. Yeah. That's soil. That's what grows. That's what creates. That's what this earth is. Mm-hmm. Where our food comes from. So.
And last night when we were eating at a restaurant, and I brought up this thing called the Starseed quiz that I found on the internet. I saw some woman talking about it. And it's like, Starseed quiz? What's that? And so I found it on Google and took the test, and I scored really high on it. It's like, and the questions were like, do you love thunderstorms? Yes. Is green one of your favorite colors? Yes. Like all these things. Like, what does it all mean? And you took the test and you got like a super high score. Like the highest score I've ever heard about. 96 out of 100.
Yeah, that's yeah. And I didn't know. I didn't know what the test was about. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I want to score high on this test. So yes, or convincing yourself to say yes.
Right.
It was really just like, oh wow, okay. I had no idea. I did feel your energy though, looking at all my checks. You were like, what the fuck? I felt that. And so, yeah. I've always been, that started when I was a very little girl.
So, just for the listeners, a starseed is like, it's this new thing that's coming up. It's like people who feel they don't come from this planet. They feel like they came here to Earth to volunteer, to help humanity become more evolved, to raise the level of consciousness.
I had no idea. Really?
Yes.
You didn't tell me that last night because that's what I feel like this is. Well, that's what my book is.
Right. And at the end of A New Earth, in the last few pages of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, he's talking about do you remember what it said? He was talking about the frequency holders.
Oh, no, I don't remember this.
You don't remember that? I thought it was the most important part of the book. I saw him in that webcast with Oprah Winfrey. Uh-huh. He was fantastic, so down to earth, not a trace of ego in the guy. And I was waiting for that last part when he would talk about the frequency holders. People who hold a higher frequency, of awareness.
Right.
And they act like tuning forks that raise the level of awareness.
And that's right.
That's the frequency holder, holding a higher level of awareness. And so he never got to that, but a starseed, that dovetails perfectly with the starseed phenomena. People who are here with a higher level of awareness, consciousness, in order to help humanity become more conscious. Right. Where you look at all the problems on the planet, all the man-made problems, human-made problems, and you realize it's all due to the simplest of factors. The financial shenanigans that are about enslaving humanity, the ecological destruction for short-term profits, on and on and on. The 16,000 nuclear bombs that still exist, even though there's been 2/3 of them dismantled with the strategic arms limitation talks between the U.S. and the USSR and all that. Still, there's 16,000 hydrogen bombs out there, more than enough to blow up the planet, kill all life on the planet. So, yes, it's about the simplest solution for all that is for humanity to become more conscious, more aware, and to have this sense that everything is interconnected. And it's not like what the Bible says, in Genesis, which I never can get past Genesis. I've tried to read the Bible so many times, I just can't get past Genesis. And it says, the earth is for you. It's all here for you. What is that? I don't believe that at all. It's just a supermarket for us to just use up and not care about? No. We're going to go out to other planets now and do the same destruction in those other planets with a lower mentality, unawareness. So the whole frequency holder thing is about raising awareness. Okay. So how do you take that?
Oh my God, that's duh. It's a duh for me. That's a duh.
Yeah.
This is destiny. This is whole experience with you and your fucking Red Sox, man, I tell you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Red Sox. Right.
It's the first thing I noticed when I came here this morning. That's what I feel like. I know that's what this is, and my ego will try to convince me out of that. Sometimes only for like maybe 2 seconds, and then I'm like, oh no, I got this shit labeled. This shit done.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's humanity that's writing the book. That's
right.
The thing. I'm just a muse. What I do, and when you talk about frequency and lifting vibration, and is people open up to me and tell me things that they usually don't tell people. And usually, like if I'm at a party or something like that, I am kind of people enjoy my company. And I love hosting, I love feeding people, I love gathering people together, and just make it a good time. And I mean, that Iraq man and how I had him in tears and stuff like that was evidently clear to me. Like, okay, I think I can do this. And I think I might be able to do this. And Spirit Guide Mark Angel man, he's always telling me, Suze, you need to get to the Midwest, or I mean to the Mideast. You need to get to the Mideast. And I'm kind of like, is this human? Like, is this a big responsibility that I have to take on? I mean, I'm not thinking I'm the next Jesus or anything, but just to start, just a little Eckhart Tolle or something.
Right.
And
right. Well, let me back up, because you said, here you are, you're saying that you were like the facilitator for gathering people and having them come to a party and all that. But you had lots of yoga tribe friends in Northern California and all these close friends as well, other friends as well. But you were in Iceland, and there was a screw up with where you were staying. Not to go into those details, but so you were like walking on the road, and the trials of our path, the crooked path. You know that quotation from William Blake, the crooked paths.
No.
He said, "The straight roads are roads of improvement, but the crooked roads, the roads without improvements, are roads of genius." Okay. So you were on your crooked path, you left where you're staying in Iceland, and you were just walking and you're totally alone, and you almost threw in the towel. You almost said...
Susie Steinle would have thrown in the towel. Astral Red is going to hitchhike the fuck out.
Okay.
I don't care if I have to walk 18 kilometers, which is about 9 miles or something like that.
With a big backpack.
With a big pack on in the middle of nowhere, and it could literally storm like any moment. And I looked at the forecast, it was a sunny day. What I manifested into my subconscious mind, there's going to be an empty mountaineer bus, because they have a lot of tourism for mountaineers out there for like glacier hiking and stuff. One of those empty vans is going to pick my ass up, and that's what happened. And I lucked out, and I got head back to Reykjavik and was wearing my little Ohm hat. Do you want me to continue on? Because then the Apostle Paul comes up. Is that what you want to get to?
No. But
stepping into the unknown.
Just a quick little repass on Apostle Paul.
Well, it's just that, I mean, he brought up again, this is space check. This is like, he's all about, I'm at this bus station where I was really about to throw in the towel. That's what you were getting to.
And you were going to just buy a ticket and go back.
I was going to get the fuck home. I was going to go
San Francisco,
to where I'm comfortable and where I know what to do.
Back to the comfort zone.
Yes.
And I told you, my wife said there is no growth in the comfort zone.
No.
Right.
And that's why, and I think that's why there is so much anger on this planet and so much dead zombie, is because no one is, everyone's comfortable.
People
and they're
are stuck
getting
in the comfort
more
zone.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
The technology is making it more comfortable, and
to have
the
a total,
food is getting you more comfortable.
Sedentary lifestyle,
right?
Physically and psychologically,
right?
Yeah. Okay, so you met the guy. This guy noticed you in line because you were wearing a hat. You're about to toss in the towel.
I was about to toss it, I'm just thinking like, wow, you can't even travel right? What the fuck? And, a little inner child negative thoughts kind of came in, and I was observing them. I did everything very slowly that day, and this man approaches me, and on my hat is an Om symbol, and he comes up and he goes, "Do you practice yoga?" And I'm like, "Yeah." We get to talking. He studies it for the mind, and if you study anything about yourself or mind concern, you get me. I'm gonna start talking to you then. Let's conversate. So he joined with me on the bus, and we were riding the bus around, and he goes, "Do you have a place to stay tonight?" And I go, "No, I kind of got to figure that out because my plans that were going to be set for a month and a half in Iceland are gone. So I have no plan. I'm homeless tonight." "Well, you want to come in and stay with me?" "Sure, I'll come in and stay with you." So within about an hour of his apartment, he showed me the Bible, and then I saw a few other books. We had similar books, so I was like, "Cool, this guy, wow, I always look at the positive. Oh, what an adventure." Next thing you know, like my life, this is where I'm like, I gotta practice saying no. Because this is when I really feel like the unknown journey is starting to really begin. It started off with me hitchhiking out of that lady's house. But now, this is the real plan. This is where I'm supposed to stay. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I tried to control it with, I'm going to stay at this house, but the universe had other plans. The universe was like, "No, you're going to stay with this human being that thinks that his spaceship is going to be coming to him any time of day now because you're in his life, who's I'm one of his 4 wives, and we're going to have lots of children, and he's playing love music to me the whole time, and here I am just compassion, compassion, Susie, compassion, 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 compassion," and just taking it moment by moment. I could have ran, but I was just, for some reason, I was dangerously curious. I was like, this is what it's about. And back home, I get myself in situations like this all the time. Oh. I've had humans come up to me in front of supermarkets. "Can I smell your armpit? Hey, can I lick your freckles on your lip?" And I'm just like, huh? Like, I get myself in people, like I said, I'm very approachable.
Humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I said humans again.
Right. No, hey, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now it's starting to feel like, no shit, I say humans after you tell me the whole vibrational thing. I really feel I'm here for the humans.
Yeah.
Me and some others, and I feel like this is all part of that shift. It's with
a lot of people are feeling this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been told by this with psychics and stuff like that. There's a few of us that are, and what's fascinating is Mark Angel, my spirit guide, told me, he was like, so when Kate died, it was her death. The next day it rained, and that's kind of nuts that it rained in that part of July in California.
Why?
And it was a heavy rain.
Oh.
We don't get summer like the Midwest or Florida. They would get summer rains.
Plus the major drought.
Right, yeah. But in our part of California, we don't usually get summer rains like that. And it rained, and it was a different rain, and it smelled different. And he was like, "Yeah, you were reborn that day. You and a few others that were close to her. Her soul transitioned so you could be reborn.
So that there would be some trigger event for you.
Right.
Okay. Right.
So that's where it's like, really or really not. And that's, I could believe this stuff, and part of me is like, what the fuck? If you go down this path of believing this, are you fucking nuts right now? I felt isolated there for a minute. Like, I couldn't tell people this because they look at me like I'm nuts, and next thing you know, no one's coming to my yoga classes or something. But I just kept speaking what I felt, and just kept inspiring people. Get playful, start believing in what you don't see, or in that magic, in that little kid sense. And I started really actually believing it. I started slowly, as I'm trying to convince these students. Here I am second guessing myself as well, but I'm also slowly convincing myself, and now I'm just, I'm on that slide. I am not stopping now. I'm full swing, just, oh my God, this is the most fun I've ever had. Ever since her death, I've never had a victim day where it's kind of like, oh, poor me, and the universe is attacking me. No, it's just constant flow, universe throwing through me, and very light. It's so much fun. It's just like dancing the whole time. Harmony, there's music everywhere, even if music's not on, like physically in my ears. It's just, and the compassion that I have for all humans, even the dicky ones,
right,
like people that are assholes. It's just like, They weren't born. Everything I see is just, we're all little babies.
Right. Also, let me ask you about, we just recently, just earlier today, we did a regression. And how was that for you? What happened for you? A regression, because I'm way into the UFOs and I'm a psychotherapist. And I do these things with for people to explore some deeper aspect of themselves that they may not be aware of. And so how was this regression for you?
Well, I had no idea when we were discussing last night what this thing would even be about. I honestly thought you were just going to try and convince me that there's aliens around me or some shit. I was like, what is this regression stuff about? What's it going to be? But I also totally had this vision too that, okay, this is almost going to be like a shamanic therapy. Like if you went to a shaman, they're kind of like a therapist where they're going to pull out certain visions for you. Pretty much, I was my own therapist today, and you were kind of like my guide.
Right.
So,
and plus, you did say something yesterday or earlier today about how you had a vision that you would be coming to Copenhagen and you wanted some magical,
I had, what I envisioned was I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to get to Copenhagen. I'm going to either get a massage, or basically I'm going to treat myself to something inside of me. I'm going to either get a massage or I'm going to go to a psychic. Something with insight on. It's inside feeling or insight on. And yeah, I thought about that today. How this is, and it was a massage and a site, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. But I designed it too. So it's kind of like, I feel like that's where a lot of humanity is suffering as well. This is kind of off the subject, but within it as well. One of the most powerful things that I've tapped into is the fact that I've really, really feel in my blood and bones, I am the designer of my life. And a lot of people on this planet, they give it up to a certain someone, whether it's Jesus or their God. They turn to the sky and I pray, please heal this cancer. And I'm the kind of person that's like, what is this about? Like, I try to get the information, these secret messages, rather than the victim play. And I feel like when you play the victim play, you give away all your power. And instead, I don't do a hero play either. It's just like, no, this is my doing. It wasn't a god that's doing this. This is just the great design. That might be off subject. So, now I totally got off tangent, so you have to kind of wind me back. Okay. So no, we were talking about our therapy session.
Yeah, the regression.
So regression, I come in and I notice everything's red, and I'm like, okay, not surprised, totally used to this now. But that's what triggered me to like, this is really where I'm supposed to be. When I saw all the red. Those are my little signals. And at first, when I was at his house, I was a little kind of like, I woke up this morning being like, I want to go out there and see what's in Copenhagen, and just I want to go. I wasn't on purposely avoiding myself and that insight. It was just, there was this excitement and curiosity, what's out there. And then I looked up at the weather and I looked at the clouds and I just felt out the situation. I started making him breakfast, which got me into my intuition. And it wasn't like, actually I am going to go to his house to go to the therapy session. It was just, next thing you know, I'm looking at my watch and gradually my body's getting itself changed and his breakfast is made. And, okay, it's time to go. I'm doing this. It was just so natural. And laying there, and it was hard the first 5 minutes as you're leading me through the meditation to go inward, down the 10 steps, and then, deeper toward the bone and the heartbeat. I was telling Mads how it was interesting because my voice was louder than yours for the first 5 minutes a little bit, or it was almost like I was trying so hard to relax that, okay, reversing effect. So that's why I use the blanket on top of me. I just kind of, just give in with the materials that are closest to you and then have them press you down. And that's just a technique that I do. And then eventually it's like, okay, I just feel my blood pulsating everywhere. And I feel the alignment with the breath. And just, to me, that's subconscious mind. I don't have to think about pumping any of these organs. Everything's doing it. And so I come into that brain of trust. And so once I was there, and I think I was a bit nervous to like, oh my God, am I going to ask the right questions? Or am I going to have questions that he's going to be able to get anything out of me with? Like I wanted to come here and be like, oh, so what country should I go to next? You know, that's something like a psychic would want to act like they know. They don't even know.
Right, I told you it's not about that.
Right. Yeah. So the questions I felt were very natural. I mean, I'm not surprised that we talked about my sister Jane or my father, who are so much alike, because these are all, everything that we talked about in the regression today has been stuff that I've literally been reflecting on when I finally have my own space.
Which you have your own space when you travel. You know?
I do not.
Well, in terms
the way
of like,
that I'm traveling, I do not have my own space with this work away. I haven't had my own space since yesterday morning. I haven't had my own space. I haven't had a chance to rest since late August.
Oh, but you said when you were in Iceland alone, you know, like in the wilderness, and you're like,
but I was
total silence and.
There wasn't alone. I was with two. I was with Australian man. I was with Icelandic man, and both of them were, trying to scoop up my vag all the time. I was not alone. I mean, I had aloneness with. The only time was that I'm experiencing aloneness and in my own thoughts is when I'm walking around and I don't understand the language. That to me is that. But I'm never. There's always noise pollution. Okay. There's never silence. And the first silence I've had was at his house. So, yeah. It's been very interesting.
So, in the regression, how was it when you looked down and when you were in one of these rooms and you looked down and you have these dinosaur feet?
Okay, so...
Just to get to the juiciest part.
Right, so the door, my first door was fear, my second door was stars, third door was destiny. And that destiny door was when to me, they were dragon feet.
And I kept asking you, so what do your feet look now? And you're like, they're just feet, dude.
Yeah, they're always human feet. Yeah. And then finally, we got to some real cool fucking dragon feet. And it was in front of the destiny door. And this is a trip, is because you're like, now step through that door. And the whole time, it was literally my feet were gripping on the door frame. They weren't in, they weren't out.
Oh, they didn't want to go in?
No, it's not that they didn't want to go in. It's just I feel like I'm right on the door frame right now. Like I don't know if it's going to be the ayahuasca stuff that's going to happen, or because literally, I don't know what country I'm going to be in 7 days.
Right. I mean, right. You're just going with the flow.
I'm homeless.
And opportunities will open up for you.
Oh my God, I think they're all open all the time. It's just so fun. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So anyways, let's close up here, Astral Red. And just want to say thank you for having this little podcast and telling your life story, and
thank you.
In such a nice summarized way. And these talks have to do with like people talking and being open and honest and inspiring others, with their life journeys, since everyone's journey is unique. So, so just have trust and things will go well.
I love that word. Trust is so,
Yeah, it's like magic.
It's
so crucial.
It is.
Yeah, and to not second guess oneself.
No.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.